Okay. It's less than a week away, folks. This seemingly never-ending election will, in fact, end next Tuesday, November 5th.
But we've got so many October surprises.
The only October surprise I'm looking forward to might even have already happened by the time this video goes up. Dodgers, baby!
Oh, yeah, we're filming while they're playing game four.
I hope I didn't just jinx it.
I know.
And yeah, except it probably won't be over November 5th because it'll probably be like 2020 with the vote counting in multiple key states taking several very chaotic days to complete. And a lot of very Trump-loyal governors doing everything in their power to muddy the waters. And yeah.
Trump referencing a little secret that he has.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Steve Bannon getting released from jail in the middle of the night and immediately instructing Trump to claim victory on night one.
But yeah, the point is the constant, inescapable onslaught of campaigning is almost done.
The text will stop.
But in the meantime, it continues with the Trump campaign doing a last-minute event at New York City's Madison Square Garden over the weekend. Live at the Garden.
Yeah.
That was essentially a mini redux of the RNC featuring not just Trump, but a seemingly endless slate of speakers taking the stage to rile up the crowd. And this time, the crowd wasn't full of delegates. It wasn't full of party insiders. It was full of normal folks like you and me. In the lead up to the event, some jokingly, some less jokingly, made comparisons to another rally that took place at Madison Square Garden 85 years ago, the notorious 1939 Madison Square Garden Not Zee Rally. And those comparisons ended up being maybe a bit more accurate than expected.
Yeah. Now, to be clear, this was all basically the same stuff that we've seen and heard from Trump and his disciples for nearly a decade. But the sheer amount of racism, misogyny, paranoia, and grievance packed into this one event was still kind of crazy.
It's, oops, all grievances.
It was the culmination of everything they've been doing over the past couple months. It was the, let's just repeat all the worst shit that we've done.
Let's play the hits.
Yeah. And look, there's no getting around this. It felt a little bit fashy when you take it all as a whole. And also just kind of weird considering how soon the election is and how close the polling remains, as NPR explains here. Donald Trump put on a rally in New York City's Madison Square Garden on Sunday to kick off the final full week of campaigning for president, complete with celebrity guests and a new economic proposal. But repeated insults and, at times, racist and misogynistic remarks from guest speakers threatened to grab the most attention. The final weeks of a campaign are often when candidates put forth a unifying message to gather as many voters as possible. Trump's Madison Square Garden rally was instead marked by swear words, racist jokes about Latinos, and misogynistic remarks. The focus could help Trump grab headlines and mobilize some existing supporters, though it's unlikely to bring in new voters who are already turned off by some of the Republican presidential candidates' rhetoric.
Yeah, that's what makes this so bizarre. It's just like, who was this for? I mean, we know who it's for, but like strategically...
He wanted to sell out the garden.
Strategically, that's just so... I don't know. Who knows? It might work.
And even NPR was about as critical as you could get from a mainstream outlet because some of the reporting about it was just, you're missing the point of what was going on at this rally.
Trump really putting on a show down there at the Madison Square Garden, putting forth his vision. Rallying his supporters. Like, okay.
I guess talking about all the economic anxieties of his supporters and absolutely nothing else.
Anyway, you had all sorts of guest speakers. All the stars are here, from Rudy Giuliani.
But it's kind of funny that they tried everything else, and now they're trying to kill him. They better not. Try again.
To Donald Trump Jr.
The King of New York is back to reclaim the city that he built.
To Elon Musk.
I'm not just MAGA. I'm dark, gothic MAGA.
To Hulk Hogan.
And what you gonna do about putting God in our homes, in our country, and our schools?
But the very first speaker who kicked off the event really set the tone of what was to follow. Tony Hinchcliffe, aka Kill Tony, is apparently a very successful comedian podcaster. I had never heard of him before this, but he's got a following.
I've seen the clips online, but I have no idea who that guy is. I've just seen when the guy who plays Dr. Phil shows up. There's like clips of that online that I've seen.
What?
There's a guy who plays Dr. Phil.
But the real Dr. Phil was there.
Yeah, well, it must have been very awkward for old Kill Tony, I guess.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Tony is a comedian and podcaster who has had several previous controversies for racist, homophobic, off-color jokes and statements. And you hear about this guy and you're like, damn, let me imagine what his voice sounds like. He's probably like real gruff, real American. And no, that's not what he sounds like at all. But yeah, his set opening up for Trump was basically what you'd expect. Here's the highlights from that.
Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. And these Latinos, they love making babies, too. Just know that. They do. They do. There's no pulling out. They don't do that. They come inside, just like they did to our country.
Oh,
Okay. I mean, the crowd seemed to mostly like it. And to be fair, not even close to the edgiest stand-up we've ever seen, but still, this was not a stand-up comedy show. This was a campaign event where you are essentially speaking on behalf of Donald Trump and his campaign. And the message we're getting here is Donald Trump really doesn't like Puerto Ricans.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem like a great strategy, considering Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory, and a whole lot of Puerto Ricans live in parts of the U.S. where they can vote, with nearly 500,000 of them living in Pennsylvania, a key swing state.
Here's Politico. Donald Trump has a serious Puerto Rico problem in Pennsylvania. Many Puerto Rican voters in the state are furious about racist and demeaning comments delivered at a Trump rally. Some say their dismay is giving Kamala Harris a new opening to win over the state's Latino voters, particularly nearly 500,000 Pennsylvanians of Puerto Rican descent. Evidence of the backlash was immediate on Monday. A nonpartisan Puerto Rican group drafted a letter urging its members to oppose Trump on Election Day. Other Puerto Rican voters were lighting up WhatsApp chats with reactions to the vulgar display and raising it in morning conversations at their bodegas. Some are planning to protest Trump's rally Tuesday in Allentown, a majority Latino city with one of the largest Puerto Rican populations in the state.
Quote, "It's spreading like wildfire through the community," said Norberto Dominguez, a precinct captain with the local Democratic Party in Allentown, who noted his own family is half Republican and half Democratic voters. "It's not the smartest thing to do, to insult people, a large group of voters here in a swing state, and then go to their home asking for votes," Dominguez said. "This was just like a gift from the gods," said Victor Martinez, an Allentown resident who owns the Spanish-language radio station La Mega, noting some Puerto Rican voters in the area have been on the fence about voting at all. "If we weren't engaged before, we're all paying attention now," Martinez said. He added the morning radio show he hosts was chock full of callers Monday sounding off on the Trump rally comments, including a Puerto Rican Trump supporter who is now telling people not to vote for the former president.
Making this even more of an unforced error was the fact that at almost the exact same time Tony Hinchcliffe was insulting Puerto Ricans, Kamala Harris was in Philadelphia specifically to court the Puerto Rican vote, saying that she'd help rebuild and modernize the island and improve its economy. So the two campaigns' very different approaches to Puerto Rico over the weekend even earned Kamala Harris the coveted Bad Bunny endorsement.
Oh, it's fucking over.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's just simply and it was Ricky Martin and Jennifer Lopez, and they just point at this and say, okay, look, this is what they think about you. Yeah. And that's along with support from other various Puerto Rican American celebrities. So, hey, great job, Tony. It would be very funny if this was the thing that cost Trump the election.
Yeah, and it's super funny because the backlash has been, so first of all, you've got the Trump people being like, oh, what, you can't handle the joke. There's other people who are maybe more conscious of the blowback here being like, we didn't know he was going to say that. Even
Which
though
is bullshit.
They're fucking lying because he was reading off a teleprompter. Everyone who spoke had to get those comments approved by the campaign beforehand. And there's even reports that he was going to call Kamala Harris the C word, and they had him cut that, which means they approved everything else he said. Yeah, and Trump's going on Hannity being like, I've never heard of the guy, never met him, seems like a real bad guy.
And just to make another note, I still have not heard of Project 2025, by the way.
And then on like Twitter and shit, there's people being like, this Tony Hinchcliffe guy must have been a Democratic plant.
Yeah,
they
of course,
put him there on purpose to make Trump look bad.
The best part about anything that makes Trump look bad is it's always a hidden Democrat. Even January 6th, it was just all Democrats trying to make Republicans look bad.
A recurring theme of Trump's biggest supporters going above and beyond to support their big wet president and then getting completely disowned by everyone else when they go too far.
And also reports of him working that material in New York City before the event at comedy clubs and it not
they
going
knew
over
who
well.
they were booking.
And him being like, well, it's going to kill tomorrow at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah. With a more racist audience, I think this material's really gonna sing.
What's actually this is done, which, I mean, it's great that it's getting the attention that it deserves, because it deserves a lot of attention, especially from Hispanic voters.
Yeah, this is what they fucking think of you.
But it took a lot of attention away from the other horrific shit that was being said on stage, like Tucker Carlson's speech.
Yeah.
A bunch of guys that I've never even seen before.
Bunch of weirdos. A lot of just
Stephen Miller saying
America for Americans only.
which is a direct quote from the
Nazis.
Yeah.
Germany is for Germans only. Yeah.
So great job, Tony. But and JD Vance's response. Where he's like, well, I haven't even analyzed the joke.
I've never heard of him. The guy that we booked at our all-star headliner event at Madison Square Garden, our biggest campaign stop ever. Never heard of the guy.
His response was.
Did he tell a joke?
His response was that everyone's getting too offended these days.
Okay.
Maybe it's a stupid racist joke, as you said. Maybe it's not. I haven't seen it. I'm not going to comment on the specifics of the joke. But I think that we have to stop getting so offended at every little thing in the United States of America. I'm so over it.
But back to Madison Square Garden. Here's The Hill with some more highlights. We get to the stuff that isn't Mr. Kill Tony. Carlson mocked Harris's racial identity. Sid Rosenberg, a New York City radio host whose show Trump calls into periodically, blasted Democrats in derogatory and explicit terms. She is some sick bastard, that Hillary Clinton. What a sick son of a bitch.
Wrong election, buddy.
He said of the former Secretary of State and 2016 Democratic nominee. The whole fucking party, a bunch of degenerates. One speaker described Harris as the devil and the Antichrist. Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani spent a portion of his remarks fear-mongering about Palestinians, saying they are taught to, quote, kill us at 2 years old and are on the side of the terrorists. Hey, so another great clip for everyone to share with people who think, for some reason, that Trump is going to be better on Palestine and Israel.
Yeah, I mean, that whole conversation kind of annoys me because they frame it like, oh, he's going to be so much worse. And I'm like, at this point, I don't even think there's a whole lot of room for him to be significantly worse. How much worse could it get? But he's definitely not going to be better on it.
Certainly.
Anyways, we should actually just show you a Tucker Carlson clip because it wasn't just racist, and he didn't just seem like he was on some of that Nazi fucking speed that Hitler was on. It was also Tucker preemptively making the case that if Harris does win the election, well, no, she didn't. Clearly, the election was rigged.
It's going to be pretty tough for them 10 days from now to look in the eye to America with a straight face. It's going to be pretty hard to look at us and say, you know what? Kamala Harris, she got 85 million votes because she's just so impressive. As the first Samoan, Malaysian, low IQ, former California prosecutor ever to be elected president, it was just a groundswell of popular support. And anyone who thinks otherwise is just a freak or a criminal. At this stage of the game, after 9 years of listening to their lies and finding every single one of them totally false, no, it's not safe and effective, and no, she's not impressive. It's very hard for me to believe the rest of us are going to say, you know what, Joe Scarborough, you're right. You're right. She won fair and square because she's just so impressive. I don't think so.
And yeah, that was basically the vibe of the entire event. This was not about presenting a positive vision for a second Trump term. It was about getting Trump's most insane supporters really, really riled up. The message from Trump and various other speakers was what we've already seen a million times. Basically, the Democrats and the immigrants and the LGBT community are enemies of the United States, and Trump is going to punish them for you.
Yeah. But we'd be remiss if we didn't also show you a little bit of Elon Musk's contribution to this rally, which really showcased the man's oratory skills. Here you go.
USA, 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 USA. Wah!
Wow, what a cool guy.
Yeah.
The man certainly knows how to work a mic. Look out, Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yeah, coming for your job.
And here's some more of Musk's incredible stage presence from over the weekend at another event.
It's like, I don't know what's up with that guy, but honestly, like putting DAs in, it's like the Joker's in charge, you know? Yeah. Like electing DAs that don't prosecute crime is insane. That's like literally like Batman Dark Knight. I mean, like, lock up lock up the citizens and free the criminals. It's insane. It's happening.
Also, he went past dark MAGA and is now dark Gothic MAGA.
Yeah.
But that is just, he added some very 1940s German-looking font to his "Make America Great Again" hat, and it seems like a really easy way to.
Letter.
It seems like an easy way to be like, well, no, it's just Gothic font. You see? Yeah. You would be misinterpreting what the hat actually is saying. It's actually very cool and very goth.
Yeah, it turns out there are fonts that are dog whistles.
There were also people being like, yeah, and they got goth chicks to work security at the event. And
Those are just women.
Yeah, women with
dark
brown hair.
I know you've been watching Fox News too much when you see a woman who isn't blonde and you just see, that's a goth. That's what a goth is.
Anyway, Musk's full-on embrace and full-throated endorsement of Donald Trump hasn't been a surprise to anyone who's been paying attention. But it is still a bit odd when you consider Musk's own background, being an immigrant himself. But Elon immigrated, he immigrated legally. He did it the right way, you guys.
Did he though?
Well, I mean, eventually he did. But here's the Washington Post with news about Elon's immigration status during his early years here in the States.
Long before he became one of Donald Trump's biggest donors and campaign surrogates, South African-born Elon Musk worked illegally in the United States as he launched his entrepreneurial career after ditching a graduate studies program in California, according to former business associates, court records, and company documents obtained by the Washington Post. What Musk has not publicly disclosed is that he did not have the legal right to work while building the company that became Zip2, which sold for about $300 million in 1999. It was Musk's stepping stone to Tesla and the other ventures that have made him the world's wealthiest person, and arguably America's most successful immigrant.
Musk and his brother Kimball have often described their immigrant journey in romantic terms, as a time of personal austerity, undeterred ambition, and a willingness to flout conventions. Musk arrived in Palo Alto in 1995 for a graduate degree program at Stanford University, but never enrolled in courses, working instead on his startup. Leaving school left Musk without a legal basis to remain in the United States, according to legal experts. Foreign students cannot drop out of school to build a company, even if they are not immediately getting paid, said Leon Fresco, a former Justice Department immigration litigator. If you do anything that helps to facilitate revenue creation, such as design code or try to make sales in furtherance of revenue creation, then you're in trouble, Fresco said.
Yeah, so they explained that after dropping out of Stanford, Musk was legally obligated to leave the country because he was here on a student visa. But he didn't. And he instead started that company, Zip2. And according to former board members and investors of that company, the Musk brothers' immigration status was a big problem. And they ended up hiring an immigration attorney who came up with a plan that sounds like it just involved a lot of lying. And when they did eventually get those work visas, they would have had to have flat out lied on their applications, which would have asked them directly if they had worked illegally in the US, and would have rejected their applications if they had told the truth. But again, none of this is a surprise if you've been paying attention. In fact, when they did fund us, they realized that we were illegal immigrants, Kimball said in the 2013 interview. Well, Elon said. Yes, we were, Kimball said. I'd say it was a gray area, Elon replied to audience laughter. We were illegal immigrants, Kimball said flatly.
Thank you, Kimball. Also,
come on, Kimball, shut up.
It's just so obviously frustrating that because he's a white dude, it's just completely fine.
Yeah, no, that's what it is.
Yeah. Also, fucking Melania. The same kind of process.
She was here, her visa situation is also a little, I don't know. I don't know if that was exactly by the book, how she got over here.
Here's more on Kimball. Kimball has also said he misled U.S. federal agents to re-enter the United States for a crucial investor meeting after visiting his mother in Canada. When U.S. officers searching his luggage at the airport discovered his business cards and California address, they realized he was traveling for work without authorization. After they turned him away, he said, he enlisted a friend to drive him over the border, telling officers they were headed to see David Letterman's show. Officers waved them through, and Kimball made it to the meeting. That's fraud on entry, said Kurzben, the immigration expert. That would make him inadmissible and permanently barred from the United States, he said, unless the penalties were waived. I tried to get a visa, but there's just no visa you can get to do a startup, Kimball said in a 2021 interview. I was definitely illegal. Keep talking, Kimball. Keep talking.
You don't hear a lot from Kimball, but what we do hear, I'm
that might be why.
Yeah, he tells it like it is, that Kimball. And by like it is, I mean he tells the truth about him and his brother's illegal immigrant status in the early years of their
So it seems
business
Elon Musk
career.
doth protest too much.
Yeah,
It's just so obvious what this is really about. It's fucking racism.
Yeah, and they're like, well, he started all these companies. It's like, yeah, I mean, imagine how many people from outside the United States, if given the opportunity to come here and study and work, could accomplish great things.
Steve Jobs.
Also, I mean,
many such examples.
People use this argument, I think, a bit too much because, like, even if someone isn't going to come here and change the fucking world, like,
it doesn't. It should be able to.
Yeah.
The immigration process should be.
Even if they're just going to come here and work a normal fucking job
Yes.
and raise a family, like, that's fine. I don't see why that's scary. Anyways, Elon Musk hates illegal immigration and thinks it's ruining the country, except when it's him and his brother doing it, I guess.
And Trump's wife.
In which case, then it's really cool.
Many other people.
But speaking of Elon, there's of course other Elon news to cover, and this next story has to do with his bizarre obsession with birth rates and his fetish for getting as many women as possible pregnant. He's a breeder. And we've already gotten some hints that Elon is basically constantly offering his sperm to all the women around him at all times. Probably keeps a jar of it in his pocket, just in case.
Yeah, that's right.
But the New York Times published a piece this week, once again covering the topic, and it's got some new, very weird details. At a dinner party held at the home of a well-known Silicon Valley executive last year, Mr. Musk offered to provide his sperm to a married couple he had met socially only a handful of times, according to two people who were present for the interaction. The couple had mentioned at the dinner that they were having trouble conceiving a child. Mr. Musk told them he was happy to assist and boasted about his many children, according to the people present. In the winter of 2022, Mr. Musk made a similar suggestion to Nicole Shanahan around the time that Ms. Shanahan told people she had sex with Mr. Musk. Ms. Shanahan has denied that she had an affair with Mr. Musk. The former running mate of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Ms. Shanahan has a daughter with her former husband, the Google co-founder Sergey Brin. She declined Mr. Musk's offer. Just like dinner table talk.
Would you like some of my semen?
May I offer you some semen? Elon Musk semen.
And
it works every time.
Yeah.
I'm always offering my semen. It's the least I can do. As a man with a lot of jizz.
The bulk of the article is about the fact that Elon has apparently been on a real estate buying spree in the suburbs of Austin, where he plans to set up a compound that sounds like a more expensive version of the polygamous compound from the show Big Love. Mr. Musk has told people close to him in recent months that he envisions his children, of which there are at least 11, and 2 of their 3 mothers occupying adjoining properties. That way, his younger children could be a part of one another's lives, and Mr. Musk could schedule time among them. Directly behind the villa is a 6-bedroom mansion that Mr. Musk helped purchase, according to 2 of the people in public records. The total cost of both properties was about $35 million. When in Austin, he often stays at a third mansion about a 10-minute walk away, the people said. 3 mansions, 3 mothers, 11 children, and 1 secretive multi-billionaire father who obsesses about declining birth rates when he isn't overseeing one of his 6 companies. It is an unconventional family situation, and one that Mr. Musk seems to want to make even bigger. He's doing WaPo in Austin.
Yeah. It's especially funny
because he's switching over. He's like becoming a fucking weirdo Christian fascist too.
Yeah. Even though he's not Christian. He just likes the part about having a lot of kids.
It's like the teal thing. Like,
yeah. He's like, well, I'm an atheist, but like this Christian shit is actually pretty useful rhetorically.
Yeah, and a big portion of that is that you can easily manipulate and control people.
Yeah. This plan, though, of his is very funny because, like, at least 2 of the mothers he's impregnated fucking hate him.
Yeah.
So his plan is that they will just, for the sake of Elon pretending to be a good father, all of his children and all of their various mothers will move into this city block that he's purchased and live together harmoniously. I don't know, buddy. One of your kids like hates you.
Yeah.
And changed her name to stop associating with you and regularly talks shit on you on the internet. And I would venture to guess she is probably not entirely alone. Mm-hmm. At least with that set of kids, the original ones, the ones he's never seen with ever.
Even in his amazing explanation of it, in his brain, in his theories that would be perfect, it's like, and then I will have time to schedule things and see my children, and we can schedule things, and they'll be closer, and then I can divvy up my time more. And it's like,
and I can set up a series of tubes.
Yeah.
And I can put my semen in these pneumatic tubes and say, send this to Grimes' house. Grimes, here's some new semen.
What I'm saying is, like, think about all the pointless and in some cases evil bullshit that he's been doing over the past 2 years or so, and how much of that time could be spent with his children raising his family anyway.
Well, no, you're wrong, because he always has that one kid with him, so clearly he's a good father.
I guess. But on the other hand, like, he publicly boasts about his fucking Diablo builds, which at a very, like, just a streamlined level are hundreds of hours.
No fucking way. This guy is...
He doesn't give a fuck about his kids.
I work 150 hours a week. I definitely play Elden Ring. Here's my build, and I'm a great father.
Doesn't care about his kids or the wives or whatever, the mothers of the kids.
He cares about
control.
Yeah, and eugenics.
Yes.
When you really break it down.
He thinks he has
he's
like,
made a
the
lot
best genes.
He's made a lot of comments about like, not enough smart people having children.
Despite being built but like Graham, the guy who can survive a car crash, he thinks he is the master race.
Well, it's
the pinnacle of human design.
His big, beautiful brain.
There's something growing right here, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I like the theory that he took steroids but didn't work out.
Oh, and then like he has this. There's this image of him from the Madison Square Garden rally going like this, and his arms are so fucking tiny. It's just embarrassing.
Very weird.
He's built weird.
Strange physique. I think he seems to have taken Ozempic or Wegovy or one of those in the past year, because he's definitely lost weight, but his shape is still just like...
It's bizarre.
Strange.
But look, moving over...
Enough body shaming Elon Musk. Let's move on now to a little bit more politics news. Sorry. So 11 years ago, when the world's current third richest man, but I think at the time first richest man, bought the Washington Post, there were a lot of people who said, hey, maybe that's bad. Maybe the conflicts of interest at heart here will come back and really bite us in the ass someday. And there was a lot of other people who were like, hey, shut the fuck up. But it's looking more and more like that first group of people definitely had a point, because despite Jeff Bezos seemingly taking a hands-off approach to the newspaper that he owns, this week he got a whole lot less hands-off, causing what appears to be a full-on mutiny at the Post and leading to a massive amount of subscription cancellations. The reason? The Washington Post editorial board had a Kamala Harris endorsement in the chamber ready to go, and Bezos personally stepped in to kill it. No endorsement.
To be fair, a lot of people definitely have a point when they say that newspaper endorsements are becoming less and less relevant and maybe shouldn't be a thing anymore, especially at a time when trust in the media is actually very low. And Bezos' explanation is that he doesn't want the Post doing any political endorsements going forward. But the timing of all of this and the fact that it came from the very top indicates this wasn't done out of principle and probably has more to do with Bezos, like Elon Musk, wanting to get on Trump's good side in case he wins. Here's NPR with some reporting on the fallout of all this.
The Washington Post has been rocked by a tidal wave of cancellations from digital subscribers and a series of resignations from columnists as the paper grapples with the fallout of owner Jeff Bezos' decision to block an endorsement of Vice President Kamala Harris for president. More than 200,000 people had canceled their digital subscriptions by midday Monday, according to two people at the paper with knowledge of internal matters. Not all cancellations take effect immediately. Still, the figure represents about 8% of the paper's paid circulation of roughly 2.5 million subscribers, which includes print as well. The number of cancellations continued to grow Monday afternoon.
They also quote former Washington Post executive editor Marty Baron, who said, if this decision had been made 3 years ago, 2 years ago, maybe even a year ago, that would have been fine. It's a certainly reasonable decision. But this was made within a couple weeks of the election, and there was no substantive, serious deliberation with the editorial board of the paper. It was clearly made for other reasons, not for reasons of high principle.
Yeah, and it came out that Blue Origin, his rocket company,
had
a meeting with him the same day. It's so transparent. He's hedging his bets, but it's not gonna fucking work. It's not like Trump's gonna suddenly be like, oh, the Washington...
I love Jeff Bezos.
I love the Washington Post. And
Washington Post is always very nice to me.
It's all very silly too, because it's endorsement or not, if you follow the Washington Post, their reporting and their editorials, people are a little too hard on them and just every newspaper, because even New York Times, Washington Post, they have op-eds of conservatives. Yeah. They're more neocon conservatives than MAGA conservatives, because they're actually literate and whatnot. But it's not just a fucking hive mind, but if you've been following the Washington Post for the last 4 years, you'd be like, yeah, they're going to endorse Kamala Harris. So I was like, what is the point of this?
Same thing happened at the LA Times.
That one's a little more interesting, though, because, it is a similar case of, the owner stepping in at the last minute and being like, no. But in that case, it sounds like the owner's daughter is...
trying to do the cleanup job on it?
Well, no, she's she apparently has had a lot of influence on the paper, and her reasons for not endorsing Harris is over Palestine.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, if that's true. We don't know.
I feel like that's an excuse after the fact, because it didn't even come out for like 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, it's also possible that she's happy about it for that reason, but her billionaire dad is
happy about it for another reason.
Happy about it for another reason, because he doesn't want to pay as many taxes. I don't know. It's all really dumb.
Yeah. Anyways, we should at least try and cover some non-political news in this episode, and thankfully, like politics, the world of artificial intelligence never gives us a moment's peace. For the past 2 years, big tech, and particularly OpenAI, have been promising that AI will solve all of our problems.
Every single one of them.
But in practice, that hasn't exactly been the case so far, thanks to AI tools being right a lot of the time, but still spitting out lies and bullshit often enough that you can't really trust them to do anything without significant human oversight, which is bad enough for most tasks, but is downright terrifying when it comes to the medical field. Here's the AP.
Tech behemoth OpenAI has touted its artificial intelligence-powered transcription tool, Whisper, as having near human-level robustness and accuracy. But Whisper has a major flaw. It is prone to making up chunks of text or even entire sentences, according to interviews with more than a dozen software engineers, developers, and academic researchers. Those experts said some of the invented text, known in the industry as hallucinations, can include racial commentary, violent rhetoric, and even imagined medical treatments. Experts said that such fabrications are problematic because Whisper is being used in a slew of industries worldwide to translate and transcribe interviews, generate text in popular consumer technologies, and create subtitles for videos. More concerning, they said, is a rush by medical centers to utilize Whisper-based tools to transcribe patients' consultations with doctors, despite OpenAI's warning that the tool should not be used in high-risk domains.
So basically, Whisper is a transcription tool, which definitely sounds useful if the transcription is correct. But the article cites multiple researchers who've audited huge amounts of Whisper transcriptions and found hallucinations in most of them. And it's apparently not an issue with audio quality because they're finding hallucinations in transcriptions of crystal clear audio. And this is a tool doctors have started using to transcribe their visits with patients. Over 30,000 clinicians and 40 health systems, including the Mankato Clinic in Minnesota and Children's Hospital Los Angeles, have started using a Whisper-based tool built by Nabla, which has offices in France and the US. That tool was fine-tuned on medical language to transcribe and summarize patients' interactions, said Nabla's Chief Technology Officer, Martin Raisin.
It's me, Martin Raisin. Hey.
I play jazz after I get off. I go down to the jazz club.
Get me out of the sun. I'm getting wrinkly. I think it's Martin Lesson.
Yeah. Company officials said they are aware that Whisper can hallucinate and are addressing the problem. It's impossible to compare Nabla's AI-generated transcript to the original recording because Nabla's tool erases the original audio for data safety reasons.
Oh, good.
Nabla said the tool has been used to transcribe an estimated 7 million medical visits. Yeah, so there's going to be a couple bad eggs in there.
Yeah. Oh, well, at least we can, compare the transcription to the original audio in case, we have any questions. No, you can't. We delete the audio. Mm-hmm. Also, Nabla.
Way too close to another name. What's that company you say you work for? Nabla?
Hello, I'm with Nabla. Get the fuck away from me.
Yes, please leave me alone.
Stay the hell away from me and stay the hell away from my kids.
Go straight to jail.
So, as for examples of how wrong Whisper can be, 2 researchers provided some examples for the article. In an example they uncovered, a speaker said he, the boy, was going to, I'm not sure exactly, take the umbrella. But the transcription software added, he took a big piece of a cross, a teeny small piece. I'm sure he didn't have a terror knife, so he killed a number of people. What? A speaker in another recording described 2 other girls and 1 lady. Whisper invented extra commentary on race, adding, 2 other girls and 1 lady, which were black. In a third transcription, Whisper invented a non-existent medication called hyperactivated antibiotics. Researchers aren't certain why Whisper and similar tools hallucinate, but software developers said the fabrications tend to occur amid pauses, background sounds, or music playing. OpenAI recommended in its online disclosures against using Whisper in decision-making contexts, where flaws in accuracy can lead to pronounced flaws in outcomes.
Yeah, so just don't use our product.
Yeah, by the way, here's our great product that's going to save you so much time and money. Don't use it, though. Yeah. It's not very good. Mm-hmm. Don't use it for anything that's, important.
Yeah.
As long as you use it for things that are unimportant, trivial, inconsequential.
But it's great.
Fucking awesome.
It's great at guessing people's races. Give it a go.
Yeah.
It's basically an AI phrenologist.
Has someone ever been talking to you and you wish they would tell you what the race of the people they're describing is, but they just don't?
Yeah.
Whisper will figure that out just based on their tone of voice, and we'll let you know whether the person they're talking about is black.
And the guy who made it, Mr. Raisin, and his company Nambla, they are standing behind this with 100% support. Anyways, that's bad enough, but this week we also got this news via Air and Space Forces magazine. The Pentagon Nuclear Command, Control, and Communications Enterprise is decades old and desperate for an upgrade, says the head of U.S. Strategic Command, and artificial intelligence could help fortify nuclear C3 for its no-fail mission.
Oh no!
STRATCOM is exploring all possible technologies, techniques, and methods to assist with the modernization of our NC3 capabilities, said Air Force General Anthony J. Cotton, who has led the command since December 2022. AI will enhance our decision-making capabilities, Cotton said at the 2024 Department of Defense Intelligence Information System Conference. But we must never allow artificial intelligence to make those decisions for us.
Okay, so yeah, fine, the AI won't be pressing the button. But even if it's still humans pressing the button, it's definitely concerning if the information that they're working off of includes AI hallucinations. It's easy to foresee this leading to high-tech 21st century versions of the multiple near-Armageddon situations that arose throughout the Cold War thanks to bad intel and false alarms.
Yeah.
You read about these things and it's like, wow.
The world could have ended.
Yeah, the world could have. There was one where it was a Russian guy who was literally ordered to fire the nukes.
Yeah.
I think it ended up being like birds or something, but everyone around him was convinced that the US had launched an attack, and this one Russian dude was like, nah, the vibe's off.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it. And yeah, 5 minutes later, they're like, whoa, it's a good thing you didn't launch those nukes. Good thinking, buddy.
Don't throw that guy out of a window.
Yeah. So yeah, we would hope that the people in charge of these things are well aware of the many risks. Mm-hmm. But when AI is being aggressively marketed as being much more capable than it actually is, it's hard not to worry that this will end very badly.
Yeah.
I don't like the sound of this. Not one bit.
Anyways, we're gonna have more news this week. I'm sure there's just so much news out there to gather up.
Stop the press. Stop the news.
This is the last time. Anytime we take time off. I went to visit Florida for one weekend, and Trump does a Not Zee Rally in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah. How were the vibes in Florida?
Not great. There was a fucking Trump merch stands at polling places.
That's illegal. You can't
I'm sure
do
that they probably measured like the exact footage, but it was weird because this particular polling place was its own thing. It was a library with nothing else around it. So it was a library in a parking lot, and the Trump merch store was in the parking lot. So it's like, I don't know. I'm sure that they measured correctly, and it's not weird or whatever. It just seemed really fucking weird.
The parking lot's like still public, like city prop.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
But then again, it's Florida, so
It's
what's
Florida,
anyone gonna do?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So everyone there, this is the vibe that I got. Everyone there is, much like every other Republican, absolutely fucking convinced that Trump is going to win in a landslide and that Kamala Harris will have stolen the election if she wins.
Cool. We have that to look forward to, even in the best case scenario.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Steve Bannon got out of jail and immediately was like, Trump better fucking claim victory the night of the election.
This country is doomed. Yeah. Anyway, that's our show.
If you want to watch old videos from last week, check both of those out over there. But first, leave a like. They're not up there yet. Take them down. Leave a like on the video. Leave a comment. Talk about anything we talked about today. Get a forum going down there.
Yeah.
Make sure you're subscribed. Stay tuned for more videos. Now the old videos are going up right over there. Go Dodgers. Maybe tonight's the end of the World Series. Maybe not.
We'll see.
We'll see.
You'll know before we do.
Yep, that's right. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.